Hi guys, welcome back to yet another fun DIY video here about good old Athena. As you can see, Athena is still here in the shed. I was supposed to be moved out of here in a couple of hours, but the winds are very high today and I'm afraid the gate to the shed is going to get ripped off if we open it, so the big moving day is postponed until tomorrow. All that's left for me to do before Athena is ready to move outside into the rain and general unpleasantness again is just to sand and polish around a few holes here in the cockpit and remount the hardware that was located in those holes. And then of course there is the small matter of tidying up and getting all of my tools and stuff back aboard the boat. It is astonishing the amount of trash fixing up an old boat generates. Just look at all of this stuff. So yeah, a bit of cleanup is certainly in order. This hole right here is where the top rudder bushing is located. I've messed up a little bit and forgotten to order the correct size machine screws, so I can't really tighten this down today, but I can still go ahead and get this surface prepped, and then hopefully this weekend I can do the final install. Yep, nice and silky smooth. The process here is the exact same I used last weekend for the sides of the cabin tub. If you're curious about that, go back and check out that video. Before anybody comments saying that that slippery surface down there is some kind of a death trap, I am going to cover most of that with non-skid. I just want a little white reveal around the rudder bushing, so it'll be very safe. This is one of two manual bilge pumps here aboard Athena. Oh, fiddlesticks. Yet again it seems I've ordered just a slightly wrong size machine screw. So yeah, I'll have to mount this coming weekend. I might be rubbish at ordering fasteners, but at least I am still capable of ordering through holes. These are of course the cockpit drains. I'm going to bed these using butyl tape. Now that might not be the best long-term solution because butyl tape doesn't do too well with a long host of chemicals. But if it fails, it'll be very easy for me to remove them and rebed with something else. That is only something I'm concerned about because this is the cockpit. This is kind of like my outdoor workspace here aboard Athena. And this is probably going to see a fair bit of diesel, some kerosene and stuff like that. But we'll see how this goes. And this is where having long, monkey-like arms comes in useful again. Nice and snug. And ditto for the port side. This is the hatch for the cockpit locker. It's not doing so well, and I'll show you that in just a second. I haven't decided if I'm going to repair this or if I'm going to build a new one. Andy from Boatworks Today has a video where he shows how to build one of these, so I think that could be a lot of fun. I'll include a link for his video. I think somebody has already had a go at repairing this and done a, well, not so great job. And I'm thinking it might be easier just to build a new hatch than try and fix this. And also the top is not that great. There are tons of cracks here from the old teak and lots of holes from the old hinges. But yeah, for now I can just use this to seal up the boat. I don't know if it's needed, but mainly just to protect my paint job here, I'm going to add a bit of weather stripping to this so that it doesn't wear through the paint throughout the winter. There we go. With the exception of the two holes over here, which I can't mount any hardware in today because of my inability to order the correct size fasteners, there are only these two left. I plan on taking the steering pedestal apart over the coming winter to service it, and it's going to be a while until I can remount it. And until then, I'm simply just going to cover this hole up with a piece of plexiglass and some butyl tape. There we go. Now I'm just going to have to find something heavy to put on top of this. Now if this seal fails, it's not the end of the world because both of these holes are sealed up with epoxy, so the core is not going to get damaged if this leaks. It was no small feat, but all of my junk is now tossed inside of Athena, and I do mean tossed. It looks like a bomb went off in there, but I'll show you guys that in a few days. For now, all that's important is that all of the junk that used to be here is now inside the boat. It's getting very late, but all the holes are plugged up and I've tidied up as much as I need to for now. So Athena is now officially ready to be moved out of the shed. Now, moving Athena out of the shed is no doubt going to require a lot of skill. And speaking of skill, this video is brought to you by Skillshare. Skillshare is a super spiffy online learning community with more than 19,000 classes in anything from video making to cooking. Skillshare is awesome if you want to dust off an old skill, pick up a new skill, or maybe you're dreaming about turning your passion into your full-time job, just like me. I wish I would have known about Skillshare when I first started uploading videos to YouTube. That would have made my life a lot easier. When I found Skillshare, I used a variety of their courses to improve my workflow when editing these videos. For instance, visual storytelling for Final Cut Pro 10. Thanks to Skillshare, I've been able to improve my editing skills by quite a bit, and that makes editing more enjoyable and also a lot quicker, which means more time for DIY fun. So if you've got any kind of a skill you want to become better at or pick up, well, then Skillshare is a great place to start. Premium membership is only around $10 a month, but for the first 200 people that signs up using the link down in the description, courtesy of the awesome folks over at Skillshare, they'll get 2 months of Skillshare for free. So go check it out. Hi guys, it is Thursday, very late in the afternoon, and today is the big moving day. The shed is all tidied up and ready for the owner to get his boat back in here. Right now, I'm just waiting for my buddy to show up, and he's gonna help me lift Athena and move her out of here. This pristine looking piece of machinery here is what we're hoping to achieve that with. This is what the yard uses to move around boats that are positioned in the type of cradle I've got Athena sitting in. It's essentially a ginormous hydraulically powered forklift of sorts. This is what happened last year too. The wheel has started digging into the ground. If we continue going, that's going to be very annoying. Good morning guys! Just as I suspected, it got kind of late before we were done moving Athena out of the shed. But we did it! She's finally back outside and that feels awesome. Given the position of Athena's rudder, I would say we are within a couple of feet of where we spent last winter. So yeah, this is all very familiar. I would have loved to have had another couple of weeks in the shed so that I could have gotten non-skid on the deck before the winter. But looking at the weather forecast for next week, that actually looks pretty good, so maybe I can still do that. This weekend, however, is going to be dedicated just to getting the boat set up so that I can continue working. And that is going to be a lot of work, as you'll see in a few seconds. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. I mean, the lock is not here, so this is going to be slightly different, but... Welcome back inside of Athena. I have got a lot of tidying up ahead of me. This is what the forward cabin looks like right now. It is a mess, but it's probably the most organized space aboard the boat. This is the galley in the saloon. As you can see, lots of dust and lots of stuff. The same goes for the settee here in the saloon. As you can see, there is dust and stuff everywhere. And I'm afraid the aft cabins are just as bad. My plan for today is just to tidy up here inside of the boat and get it nice and dust-free so that I can continue working in here. Then tomorrow I'm going to glass the last of the supports in the engine compartment so that I can get that painted and the new diesel tank moved in there. But today it's just going to be a lot of tidying up and cleaning. Well, the boat is still kind of dirty and messy, but it's a lot better and it's good enough for now. While tidying up, I came across the cover for the companionway hatch. If I can get this thing painted and mounted up on deck, it's not going to be taking up room here inside of the boat anymore. And that should be relatively easy to do. There are only a few holes I need to patch and then it's ready for paint. There used to be a big nav pod mounted right here, and this is where the cables came through into the nav pod. And also there is some kind of a repair here that's very visible. So let's go ahead and deal with this. I've gone ahead and opened up all of the areas I could see had some kind of issues, including this bit here on the front, which was patched with some kind of caulk or whatever this is. It seems like there is a little bit of a void extending in underneath the laminate here, so I might have to open this up a little bit more, but that's easy to deal with. This bigger hole up here is going to need some kind of replacement for the core that used to be here. If for no other reason, I need something to carry the glass while I'm laying it up. And wouldn't you know it, I just so happen to have a little bit of laminate left over from earlier this summer. Of course, I could go ahead and grind a bevel around that hole, use some plastic to serve as a temporary backer while I laid up some fiberglass, but nobody's ever going to be walking on this. Even if you wanted to, you can't because of the dodger. So I'm going to shoot for something that's a little bit quicker. This is going to be a very loose fit, but that's okay. It doesn't matter, not even the tiniest bit. I've gone ahead and cut a couple of patches of fiberglass for each of these two repairs. Like I said, this is not structural, so there is no need to overdo it. I'm going to adhere my little fiberglass puck in place with a little bit of 105 thickened with 406. It's not gonna take a lot. The smaller holes from the screws that secured the nav pod are not going to get fiberglassed. Instead, I'm just going to open them up a little bit. Seeing as I've already got a little bit of 406 mixed up, I might as well fill these holes with that. But I am going to steer clear of the surface because this stuff is rock hard once it's cured, so it's not really great for fairing with. I'm ready to lay up that little bit of fiberglass, but it's gotten pretty cold over here lately. So of course I've switched to the fast hardener and I'm also preheating the resin. This is just the resin. I don't have hardener in here. That would kick off pretty quick. But yeah, this is nice and liquid. With that little bit of peel ply on there, I can go ahead and put this aside and turn my attention to the engine compartment. It's been a while since I've been in here, so it's probably gonna be pretty messy. Yep, a bit of tidying up is certainly in order, but look at all the light in there. That's from the hole from the steering pedestal. That's pretty awesome. I wish I would have removed the steering pedestal last winter when I was working in here. That would have made shooting video a lot easier, but part of what I did last winter was to glass in this support for the diesel tank. but upon closer consideration, I've decided that I want 2 of those. The old diesel tank was supported basically like this, with a flat piece of plywood here and then with that doohickey here in the back. But certainly having 2 of these is going to be a lot better than just supporting the edges of the diesel tank. Oh, dang it, I am out of juice. Despite my stellar efforts in tidying up here aboard the boat, I just cannot find my extra battery. So I'm gonna leave this one to charge overnight, and I'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. Good morning, guys. It is a beautiful, sunny, albeit cold Sunday morning. I may not have found my spare battery yesterday while tidying up, but I did find the lock for the companionway. So without further ado, this is 20mm plywood. It's 70 by 700 millimeters. That's the same size as the support I've got in there. That support is 2 layers of this. The hull shape does change quite a bit towards the aft end of the engine compartment, so let's see how this works out. Okay, well, I will definitely need 2 layers of 20mm plywood back here too. Okay, this looks a lot better. Of course, the real challenge here is going to be to get this aligned correctly with this. I don't really have an elegant way of doing that. My way is going to involve putting the diesel tank back in here, a bit of string and some epoxy, but the first step is to get the 2 pieces of plywood adhered together. I've put a screw in each end so that it's easier for me to align the 2 halves when I go to clamp them together. This is gonna be messy, but that's okay. With a little bit of luck, we can get back to this later today, but it is pretty cold, so we'll see. Meanwhile, I can turn my attention back to the repairs from yesterday. Yep, this looks fine. I've knocked down each of the 2 patches here so that they don't feel proud of the surface. The next step is to mix up some fairing compound. I did not think I was going to be doing that this soon again, but here we are. This is good old 407. I'm definitely going to have to go over this a couple of times because it is a high gloss surface right at eye level. You gotta love fairing, but at least it's small repairs, so that's good. Last night, while laying in my bunk aboard Obelix, I got to thinking, if the weather forecast holds and I'm able to get Kiwi Grip on the deck next week, it would be awesome if I could also get Kiwi Grip on the cabin tub. For me to do that, I need to paint and install the fiberglass Dodger. Let's head over and see what kind of state that's in. It's been hiding out in here since last summer. It's definitely a little dusty and dirty, but yeah, it looks overall to be in pretty good condition. There's no major damage to it, but it's still going to take a lot of work to make this thing look good again. Some of the edges here are pretty banged up. There are some less than spiffy repairs. For me to do a good job of painting this, I will definitely need to remove the windows. There is a bunch of old hardware here that I don't know if I'll need, so I should probably go ahead and remove all of this and just replace it with the stuff I know I'll need later on. I seriously doubt I can have this thing painted and ready for next weekend, but I might as well give it a go. All the windows are out. They're not looking too hot. I might be able to reuse them, we'll see. But this thing is now a lot lighter. I was barely able to lift it before. But yeah, this thing is gonna require a lot of work. I know a lot of you guys are not gonna like the look of this Dodger, but it was actually one of the things that attracted me to Athena. I'm a little bit of a sci-fi fan, and this reminds me of sort of 80s sci-fi spaceships. So yeah, it's kind of weird, but that was something that caught my eye. I doubt the camera is going to pick up the difference, but it's a few hours later and this thing is slowly but surely starting to come along. There are definitely a few areas that are going to require a dab of epoxy and some fiberglass to fix, but other than that, yeah, she's coming along. I am almost out of time for a shooting video today, but before I end this video, there are a couple of things I want to mention. If you are a patron, please go ahead and make sure that your pledge has an accurate and up-to-date shipping address. Eva and I have been waiting for some extra envelopes to show up, but come Wednesday we are going to start shipping out the stickers, and if we don't have an up-to-date address, that's just going to be a big mess. So please go ahead and check to make absolutely sure that your shipping address is up to date. Let's talk real quick about me letting Skillshare sponsor this video. That's the first time I've ever done one of those in-video promotions. First, let me just say that personally I really like Skillshare, and that is the main reason I agreed to do this when they reached out. The second reason is that I feel it's very important that when YouTube becomes my full-time job, I'm not going to be solely dependent on Patreon, because that leaves me very vulnerable in case something happens to Patreon. They could go bankrupt, or they could just dramatically change their terms of service like they did about a year ago when they changed their fee structure. Doing in-video promotions like the one for Skillshare is time-consuming, and it's not going to be super related to the content in the video, which is most likely going to be DIY boat stuff, so it's not something I want to do often, but it is a really nice backup to have in case Patreon is no longer an option. I haven't set a firm date for when I'm gonna go full-time here on YouTube. I want to make sure that I've got enough jobs lined up here at Boatowners that it actually makes sense, and that I'm not limited by, for instance, temperature. So maybe sometime in the early spring could be an option, but then again, there are some changes going on at my day job, so who knows, it might be tomorrow. Either way, it's something I am super excited about, and something that is significantly going to speed up the refit process here about Athena, which in turn should make the videos a lot more entertaining to watch. So yes, it is definitely coming, I just haven't set a firm date yet. And just like that, I am out of time for this weekend. I'm gonna keep plugging away at that Dodger and cross my fingers that we'll have nice weather this coming week so I can get some non-skid on the deck. In case that fails, then next weekend we're gonna repair these laminated beams up here. As you can see, there's a support here and I'd like to get rid of that. So either way, next weekend should be a lot of fun. As always, feel free to leave a comment down below, and don't forget, if you've enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like. See you!